Got the thumbs up, we can start. Good afternoon and welcome to Pickering Nuclear Generating Station. My name is Aida Cipolla and I'm Ontario Power Generation's Chief Financial Officer. As we get started today, I'd like to acknowledge that OPG's facilities across Ontario are located on the treaty and traditional territories of Indigenous people. I wish to acknowledge that the Pickering site is in the shared traditional and treaty territories of the Chippewa and Mississauga of the Anishinaabe. As we always do, we pride in providing engagement and prioritize in the Indigenous communities whose rights and interests may be impacted by the work that we do. Our respect for the constitutional rights of Indigenous people and communities is at the foundation of our Reconciliation Action Plan, which includes engaging in dialogue and partnership with Indigenous communities and nations. Thank you, everyone, for being here today as we welcome Chrystia Freeland, our Honourable Chrystia Freeland, Canada's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance. Welcome to OPG's 6-unit Pickering Nuclear Power Plant. Here on the doorsteps of Canada's largest metropolitan area, we safely, reliably produce 14% of the clean electricity that Ontarians use each and every day. We believe Pickering can continue to power Ontario for decades to come. That's why we're completing a necessary study on refurbishing its clean electricity powerhouse. We know that nuclear plays a key role in clean, sustainable energy future here in Canada. That's why we are pleased that Minister Freeland, that you recently recognized the importance that nuclear power plays in the recent Canadian federal budget and included companies like OPG as eligible for your government's Clean Electricity Investment Tax Credit. Clean and reliable nuclear power is critical in the role of the electricity system of the future. There is simply no credible pathway to net zero without nuclear power. Thanks to the measures such as the investment tax credit and the Canadian Infrastructure Bank's recent low-cost financing that has been put towards the construction of our new nuclear generation at our OPG Darlington site, OPG is your partner as you support and accelerate the much-needed clean electricity investment. OPG is electrifying life in one generation. We can't do it alone. We need and require the resolve of governments to help us get there. Thank you for taking the steps, as you did in the budget, to support our decarbonization efforts. And now I welcome Jeff Parnell from the Power Workers Union to say a few words.
Thank you, Aida. As President of the Power Workers Union, and on behalf of the tens of thousands of skilled workers that operate and maintain Ontario's vast electricity production and delivery system, I am sincerely honored to welcome Minister Freeland here today. I would like to congratulate Minister Freeland and the Government of Canada on the recent 2023 budget provisions. That acknowledgement, the gravity of successfully addressing the low-carbon electrification of our economy, and recognize the enormous contribution that Made in Canada nuclear generation can deliver in getting us to net zero. These measures taken by your government will help to ensure we can reach net zero in a timely manner through the production of abundant, affordable, safe, and secure low-carbon energy, building on proven Canadian clean energy technologies, cultivating tens of thousands of good Canadian jobs, and strengthening both federal and provincial economies. This is a pivotal moment of opportunity. Our people in our industry are excited and ready to do our part. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honourable Chrystia Freeland.
I'm so small that actually one of the machines that checks that you're clean didn't recognize I was standing in it because my head didn't touch the level. So there you go. So thank you very much, Jeff, for that kind introduction. Thank you, Ada. And above all, thank you to the people who are here standing alongside me, who work hard here every day, 24/7, and to their colleagues who are hard at work right now. I was really grateful to have a tour to see the hard work everyone here does. And really, I was very impressed by how dedicated everyone I met is to the work they do, how careful they are, how they understand the responsibility of working here, and how proud they are of the role that you are all playing in producing power for us here in Ontario and really leading this essential transformation of Canada's economy to a clean economy. So I really want to say to all of you, thank you so much. It's really, really great to have met you and to see you at work. Yeah. Alors, je tiens tout d'abord à souligner que nous sommes réunis sur le territoire traditionnel des Mississauga, de la Première Nation de Scugog Island et des signataires des traités Williams des Nations Mississauga et Chippewa. So I'm so glad to be here today with the incredible people who work at Ontario Power Generation. During the tour earlier today, it was so evident to me how much pride you take in what you do. As the people who literally keep the lights on, keep our heat on, keep our air conditioning, I hope soon we'll need it, for all of us here in Ontario. And you are really right to be proud of your work. As we build Canada's clean economy of the 21st century, the work you do here and the role of OPG will be more important than ever for Ontario, for Canada, and for the world. Avant de parler plus en détail de ce travail important, je voudrais souligner quelques points importants sur la situation actuelle de l'économie canadienne. L'économie du Canada se rétablit remarquablement bien de la récession causée par la COVID. Au cours de l'année dernière, le Canada a connu la croissance économique la plus forte parmi les pays du G7. Le Canada a le déficit et le ratio de la dette au PIB le plus faible parmi le G7. Quelques 865 000 Canadiens de plus travaillent aujourd'hui qu'au début de la pandémie. Nous avons récupéré 128% des emplois perdus au cours des premiers mois de la pandémie, contre seulement 114% aux États-Unis. Et grâce à notre système pan-canadien d'apprentissage et garde de jeunes enfants abordable, le taux d'activité des femmes canadiennes dans la force de l'âge a atteint un nouveau record de 85,7% cette année. This week, we also learned that inflation in Canada fell to 4.3% in March. It has been falling for 9 months in a row, and the Bank of Canada forecasts that it will be down to 3% by the summer. With these strong economic fundamentals, the budget I tabled last month comes at a very important moment for our country. I was very glad that yesterday the House of Commons unanimously approved 2 important measures from our budget. First is the new one-time grocery rebate. That will provide up to $467 for a family here in Pickering. This is much needed support for the most vulnerable among us. The second measure is the $2 billion Canada Health Transfer top-up, which will address immediate pressures on the healthcare system, especially in pediatric hospitals and emergency rooms, and help to reduce wait times for surgeries. And earlier today, our government introduced the Budget Implementation Act, which is legislation that will put many of our other commitments into action. This legislation will make life more affordable for Canadians by advancing the new Canadian Dental Care Plan, cracking down on predatory lending and house flipping, providing more support for students by increasing RESP withdrawal limits, delivering automatic advance payments of the Canada Workers Benefit, which could mean up to $714 for single workers and $1,231 for a family, doubling the tradespeople's tool deduction from $500 to $1,000. Now, another key focus of the budget is our plan to build Canada's clean economy and create great middle-class careers. Careers like the ones that the people with us here today have. Careers for people here in Pickering and across Canada. A big part of that plan is about making Canada an electricity superpower. And that means building a sustainable, secure, and affordable electricity grid that connects Canadians from coast to coast to coast. And that's the reason I've come here to Pickering today. Nuclear energy will play a very important role in our clean economy, especially here in Ontario, where it is responsible for almost 60% of the electricity people here in Ontario rely on every single day. To support investment in clean energy like nuclear power, our budget includes major investment tax credits for clean electricity and clean technology manufacturing. A very important part of this investment is that, for the first time in Canadian history, we have attached labor requirements to these investment tax credits. What we're saying to investors is this: if you want to take advantage of these tax credits, if you want financial support from the people of Canada, if you want to build a clean electricity project, you need to pay your workers the prevailing union wage, including benefits and pension contributions. You need to create apprenticeship opportunities. That's because we want to be sure that Canada's clean economy is a worker-driven economy, an economy that creates good careers today and where the unions that built the middle class can continue to thrive. We could not do this without organizations like the Power Workers Union and the Society of United Professionals, who have been incredible partners in developing our clean economy plan. So I want to especially thank Jeff Parnell and Michelle Johnston for their partnership. You are doing really big things here at OPG. You are building a small modular reactor in Darlington, the first of its kind in Canada, and one of the first outside Russia and China. You are leading the world in the development of new clean technologies. And I have to say, that is a point of real pride for me personally. It's something all Canadians should be really, really proud that we have in our country. We should be really proud that this is happening here. It's a competitive advantage for us, and it provides real security for our country, our economy in the days to come. We want to do great things in Canada, build great things, have great jobs, because that is what lets us lead great lives, build families, and create great livable communities. I have never been more optimistic about the future of this amazing province and our wonderful country than I am today. And that really is thanks to the hard work of great Canadians like the ones I met here and the ones who are with me. So thank you very, very much. And I'm now going to hand it over to Michelle, who's a little taller than I am. She may not need the step.
Wow. Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister Freeland. On behalf of the Society of United Professionals, 9,000 members, and all of us here today, I want to thank you for your remarks and taking the time to tour the Pickering Nuclear Generating Station. Society members are immensely proud of the work that we do to keep Ontario's lights on. We know our province relies on us, but very few people actually get to see inside the walls of a generating station. We hope that you share what you saw here today so that more Canadians understand that our nuclear facilities meet the highest standards of safety while performing what is still an extraordinary example of our national scientific advancements. I also want to thank you for your government's commitment to Canada's net zero future. Through the recent budget, the Government of Canada made it clear that net zero is not only an environmental policy, but also a pathway to economic prosperity for the entire country. Nuclear power is already one of Canada's competitive advantages, and it will be even more important in the net zero economy. From raw resources and supply chain to operations and spent fuel management, 96 cents of every dollar we spend on nuclear stays in Canada. In building Canada's first grid-scale small modular reactor at Darlington, we are creating the model for distributed, clean energy generation from coast to coast to coast. Society members are optimistic about the future because your government is investing in the next generation of nuclear power. That means good, unionized jobs will grow and become an even stronger foundation for thriving local economies for decades to come. Deputy Minister Freeland, I now will return you back to the podium to begin your media availability. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll now take questions from media. One question, one follow-up, and I'll just ask that you give your name and outlet before asking your question. I think you have the first question.
These are from the station. I'm Chris from CBC.
Hi, Chris.
Hello. Has your department calculated the economic impact of the strike, slowing supply chains, et cetera? Does that put pressure on the government to settle?
So, thank you for the question. And as the Prime Minister and my colleague, Minister Fortier, have said, our government believes that we have tabled a fair offer, an offer that is fair to the hardworking people of Canada who finance our offer, and an offer that is also fair to Canada's public servants. We really believe that the way to a resolution is at the negotiating table, and remain hopeful and optimistic we're going to get to a resolution soon. That's in the best interest of all Canadians.
Do you have a follow-up?
Yep. One more. Hang on. The Prime Minister has made it clear that Canada will not meet the 2% NATO benchmark. Is it because we're unable to for capacity reasons, or are we unable to, as the Prime Minister said the other day, there are other priorities?
So, I think it's very important for Canadians to realize, as the Prime Minister said, that Canada is a strong, reliable NATO partner, a strong and reliable partner in NORAD. Canada is the 6th largest defense spender in NATO, and according to our plans, Canada's military spending is going to increase 70% between 2017 and 2026. I'd also like to point out that Canada has been contributing very significantly to an issue that many people actually approached me today on tour and talked to me about. I had 3 conversations on this tour actually in Ukrainian, initiated by people who work here. And so I do want to say to them, to Volodymyr and to Oleg, that Canada is a very strong partner of Ukraine. On a per capita basis, we are contributing more than any other G7 country when it comes to financing the government of Ukraine. We're there where it matters.
Thank you. Next question.
Sharif Hassan from the Canadian Press. My first question is kind of related to the first question that was asked. Your budget promises 3% reduction in public service budget by 2026-27. Where do you foresee these cuts being made if the current labor negotiations will bring about a sizable increase in costs for the federal government? Will you downsize the public service?
So the budget was clear that in order to spend money on Canadians and on our economic capacity, in order to spend money on things like the clean electricity tax credit that we've been talking about today, it is important for the government to be thoughtful about our spending on ourselves, to be thoughtful about our spending on the operations of government. And so the budget does put forward a plan to reduce spending by $15 billion. Given the size of the government, that is a highly realistic, highly achievable plan.
Yes, my next question is that how do you square a massive spend on Volkswagen, given your comments in Washington, given the comments that you made in Washington about avoiding a corporate subsidy war?
Our government is absolutely committed to ensuring that Canada is successful in the industrial transformation which the world is undergoing today. So, you know, I think it's important for us, all of us, to appreciate how significant the economic shift in the world is right now. The whole world has decided, certainly the industrialized world, that we are building a clean economy. And this is the biggest industrial transformation since the Industrial Revolution itself. As a government, we are absolutely determined that Canada is going to get its fair share of that new, clean industrial economy. And that means doing things like investing in clean power generation, investing in nuclear power generation, and it means ensuring that Canada, which is a major car-producing country today, continues to be a car-producing country as we move to electric vehicles. And that's why the VW investment is so important.
Thank you, everyone. That concludes today's press conference.
Okay? Thanks a lot. And thanks, I really want to especially thank the people who I spoke to on the tour and everyone who was here listening. I really appreciate your work and your stories and your time. Thanks a lot.